Okay.
Already done. All right, it looks like we have pressed the live button. And thanks everybody for joining us. We are Michele Ponte, Kaya, otherwise known as byKaja. And I'm Alex here at Reportify Media. I'm the designated host. This program is not really about me tonight. Unfortunately, it's about the other two guests on the panel. We have the usual suspects in Michele Ponte's room. Hello, Ken. Welcome aboard. Randy, good to see you here tonight. Solomon, great to see you. And we are streaming approximately now in Asia at 10:30 in the night. And Kaya, what time is it where you are? Tell us.
It's 5:30.
5:30 where you are. Well, welcome aboard. Yeah. And hello, Mr. Ponte. How about you, sir? Where are they hiding you tonight?
I don't know, somewhere where the background is clean and not really understandable.
Well, good. So tell us, how did you guys manage to get together here? How did this all take place? I mean, the both of you, you didn't know each other up until how long ago? Maybe Ponte, you can answer this for us?
Yes, sir. So practically, we were trying to find an interesting guest for this show. And she seemed to be the appropriate person because she's connected both to Poland and China. And therefore, we were lucky that there is someone doing such content that speaks in English, actually. And it's very hard to find people in Poland that they have channels in English. It's very hard to find people in China that they have channels in English. And she fits both the situation. It's unbelievable. And thank you, One Crazy Nation, for the donation.
Thank you very much for that. So, Kaya, when Michele Ponte reached out to you about this, do you have much experience for live? Have you been live streaming much before?
No, not at all. This is like my very first live stream. So excited to try it out.
So good. So tell me, how do you normally communicate with your followers? When somebody's, let's say you're putting out a video, does somebody, many people probably leave comments and stuff like that. Is it, do you get back to them? Do you read the comments or?
Definitely. I mean, I like to reply on comments, that's what makes YouTube fun. It's this interaction. I basically, usually when I put up a video, I always sit and check comments regularly. And yeah, I would say I replied to majority of my comments.
Now, is there any comments that maybe you've got since this global lockdown? I mean, are people saying to you thank you for putting content out during this time? Or is there any type of comments that have touched you more than usual, this, from before what's happened with this COVID problem? Have you noticed?
Well, I wouldn't say that there have been any comments that have touched me in that way, but I haven't really, posted much content about COVID particular. Yeah. But I have posted a couple of videos lately about China, and there I get a lot of comments from people saying that, they appreciate the fact that I, showed the good sides about China as well. Especially now when China is getting so much criticism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, where I'm kind of going with that, and I think, Ponte, do you understand where I'm going with that, is that I have found that, reading, a lot of the comments from my subscribers, they've kind of said to me, look, we're in the house, we're in quarantine. I mean, thank you for putting out content during this time that is non-political, or, always repeating what the newspaper says about COVID. Thank you for taking our mind off of this and putting it into another direction. And that's kind of like where I'm going with that question. Over to you, Mr. Ponte. Tell me, what are your subscribers saying to you during this time?
No, I don't want to speak about that, Alex. What I want to focus on is on Kaya, because I want to understand how she ended up in Thailand, how she ended up in China, and then what brought her back to Europe. So I'm gonna pass the ball this time.
All right. Okay. So fire away. What's the first question you have for Kaja tonight?
Yeah, how she ended up in these 3 nations and what's going on with her life. Like, let's start from that.
Do you want me to start the question for? Okay. So Kaja, here we go. Here we go. Why are you?
Okay.
Why are you in Denmark right now? What happened?
So basically, I was in Indonesia. So I live in Poland right now. I'm originally Polish, and I was born in Poland, but I grew up in Denmark. So technically, Denmark is like my home. But I mean, I live in Poland, so Poland is home as well. Anyways, I was in Bali, and basically, the day I was supposed to fly back home to Poland, like 10 hours before my flight, Poland canceled all flights, so I couldn't go back. Yeah, so that was pretty intense. Also, especially since it literally happened, I'm not exaggerating, like 10 hours before my flight. So that was pretty crazy, you know, being like on the other side of the planet and not being able to go back. Well, Bali is obviously very far from Poland. It's like 20 hours. So, yeah, I was basically at the airport in Bali. No one could tell me what to do. And I decided that, you know, the best option for me would be to fly back to Denmark because, well, Denmark was still like accepting flights at this point, or accepting citizens. That was also the issue because, well, at the airport in Bali, they were telling me that the best option is to fly to whatever country I have the rights to be in, because at this point, it was like, what was it, middle of March? They didn't really know what the situation will be like. They already heard that some countries are closing borders. So I was told that I should just fly to whatever country I can be in. And since I couldn't fly to Poland, I had to go back to Denmark. Yeah, so that's basically.
So now that you're Denmark, now, of course, we'll call it home is Poland. I mean, what's happening in Europe there? I haven't been, you know, I used to live in Europe for quite a few years, but you know, having the Schengen agreement with the open borders throughout most European Union countries, has Denmark technically closed the border? Has it got closed the hard border and saying no one in, no one out? What's the situation there?
That's a good question. I don't want to say for sure because I'm not, well, I am Danish citizen and I'm also Polish citizen. So I know that, you know, I can be in these 2 countries, but I think that yes, foreigners cannot come to Denmark now, unless you have a job or family or something. But when I landed in Denmark, and it was almost 2 months ago, 1.5 months ago, as soon as I walked out of the plane, they were dividing the line into Danes and foreigners. So, which is obviously not normal. And that literally happened as soon as we walked out. There were people standing there and being like literally Danes that way, you know, foreigners that way, which was, you know, a weird experience to have after like 25 hours of flight. So yeah, I don't think you can really be here if you're not a citizen and if you don't have a job or, you know, family.
Well, as the Danes are known as one of the happiest nations in the world, are they still happy right now? Is everybody still happy up there?
You know what? I think Denmark is a good place to be right now because there are just not that many people here. So unless you are in the center of Copenhagen, it's very easy to, you know, to distance yourself from other people. So in that way, I think people are happy because they're not stuck. And we're also not super restricted. We can still go out. You know, we can still be outside as long as we want because I know I used to live in Paris and I have a lot of friends in France. And I know in France, there are so many restrictions where people can only go out once a day. They need to have a special permission. In some places, they can also only go out like 1 kilometer from their house. And here in Denmark, we can, you know, go as far as we want. We have the nature, you know, we have the sea everywhere, basically. So in that way, I think it's a good place to be right now because you still have some freedom.
So, Mr. Ponte, do you want to continue asking questions or do you want me to fire away at some with you?
No, you already know the questions, but I want to point out something. here, the family, the best family on YouTube, just subscribe to Kaja and show they have
Who's
some
that?
support. They come from California, so now you got a subscriber.
Fantastic.
So I want to focus on the fact that she decided to travel, let's say, as a job, because, you get money doing YouTube. So when do you remember like your first trip or your first memory of a travel, and why did you decide to travel so much, Kaja?
I always liked travel. I don't feel like, there was a certain time in my life where I decided to travel, because since I was literally a kid, I was always so excited for like family holidays or whatever. And then, growing up, especially in high school, I really wanted to move abroad. So not only travel, but I really wanted to try to live in different countries. So I feel like it's a dream that I had for so long that I don't really remember a specific time.
Okay. I practically feel the same. Between Poland and Italy, we were always moving, and at some point I tried to decide where to live, but it was impossible. And I started traveling everywhere around the world, trying to find the perfect place, but it probably doesn't exist.
No, and I feel like, it's addictive. The more you do it, the more you want to do it. And I feel like at this point, I don't think I could ever stop, not only of traveling, but also just moving around. I've been in Poland now for almost a year, not even a year now. And I'm already like, okay, what's next, Done that for a year, it's time to move on.
So what is going to be next?
Well, I don't know, but I miss Asia. So I would like to go back to Asia. I would love to go back to China. I mean, so I lived in Thailand and in China, and but I spent more time in China. So China does feel more like a home, or not all of China, but Shanghai feels like home. So I would love to go back at some point.
So how did you end up in Shanghai?
So basically, it was very random. But I was in high school, and I always wanted to learn another language, and I thought that this language would be German. But then at the end of my third year in high school, which was the last year in Denmark, I kind of thought that German is just not exotic enough. So for some time, I even thought about Japanese, because I was always interested in fashion, and Japan is really known for fashion designers and all that. And then all of a sudden, like one random day, a friend of mine told me about a friend of his that went to China. I've never been to China. And I literally that day I went home and I Googled Shanghai, because that friend was telling me about Shanghai. And at this point, I didn't even know how Shanghai looked. So I just Googled Shanghai and pictures came up, and I was like, shit, I have to live there,
So you're like in a fashion school, fashion university?
No, not really. So I did my bachelor in international business in Asia, and then I did an MBA degree in luxury brand management.
Okay. Probably you're the one with most degrees on this panel.
I don't know if it paid off though, but I mean, I like school though, I enjoy going to school.
The experience, they always pay out more than the money, so.
Yeah. And I mean, thanks to school, I got to move abroad and live in so many different places. So yeah,
that's exactly what everybody loves to do full time, changing places randomly and getting the opportunity to live. I don't know, did you have like a scholarship because or you had to pay it yourself?
So in Denmark, education is actually free. And we also get it's sort of like you get paid for going to school when you're a university student. So, obviously that helped a lot, because when you, for example, when you're in Thailand, the cost of life is so much lower than in Denmark. So I could fully support myself from that money I would get. And I didn't have to pay for my degree. So that helped a lot as well.
Yeah, I have the same in Italy, actually. I had a scholarship in Cuba for screenwriting, but just a couple of months. And I was being paid like 500 euros per month, which in Cuba is like the monthly salary, I don't know, for the salary of one person for 1 year if you have a good job. It's crazy. Some people like in the land, they get $30 per month, and I was getting 500 just to stay there. It's unbelievable.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to go to Cuba.
I can tell you the good and the bad, but everywhere is like that. So, Alex, do you want to follow up on Bangkok? Because you're the Bangkok expert. I'm just a guest here.
Oh, you're a guest. Okay. No, I mean, I was just sitting back and enjoying hearing you, chat away. I spent quite a bit of time in Asia, but before that, I was living in Monaco for about 17 years. And
Monaco, no way.
Yeah.
That's a unique place to live. I love Monaco.
I'm sure.
Wait, in Monaco, are you sure which Monaco? Because
Monaco, Monte Carlo. Monaco, Monte Carlo, yes. I was there from 1996 until about 6 years ago, and then I decided to move to Asia.
That must be a huge change from like little Monaco to Asia.
Certainly it was. But then, while I came to Asia, I got the attraction to China. It was, we've been doing business in China, my wife and I, since 2003. And, our first city was Shenzhen, as you know, a fantastic city. And then it went out from there. And then it went to Shanghai and the Beijings. And just recently, I fell in love with Chongqing in southwest China. And that's a monster city. So I understand what you say when you say to the panel here where you're Googling and you say you see Shanghai and you're just like, am I on another planet here? Is it planet China? I mean, what is your favorite Chinese city that you've been to?
Well, I must say Shanghai because it is, it's my home. But there's so many nice cities. I actually considered living in Shenzhen as well. I was considering doing a master degree in Shenzhen. And I was living in Bangkok at that time. And I went to Shenzhen for a weekend to check it out. Mm-hmm. And I was absolutely mind blown. I mean, that was like maybe 3 years ago. Back then, nobody heard, at least in Europe, nobody heard about Shenzhen. I feel like nowadays we hear more and more. But back then I was shocked that this city that literally looks like, Chinese New York or exists and no one knows about it, and so I really like Shenzhen. I also really like Suzhou and Hangzhou. Oh my God, so many. Now I'm going to name all Chinese cities. I don't know. Shanghai is my home and I love Shanghai. And I think in general, Shanghai is just one of the greatest cities on earth. But I think there are a lot of really nice cities in China that I probably don't even know about, because I feel like whenever I go to a new Chinese city, when I went to Suzhou, I was shocked because I always thought, when you lived in Shanghai, you feel like, oh, Suzhou is a smaller Chinese city. But then you go there and it's bigger than anything in Europe. And it's beautiful. Like the skyline is insane. And then there are lakes and the old parts. And yeah, so there's a lot in China, also a lot that I would want to explore. I feel like I haven't really traveled that much around China.
Well, it's an extraordinary place to travel, and to add to what you're saying about China, this is a country that builds a city the size of Chicago every single year. It's connected by over 2,800 bullet trains. They have just you cannot describe, I think, in words, even what a city like Shanghai is. When I was in Shanghai last year, we came in on the plane, then we drove down the Bund area of the city, and it's spectacular what you see with your eyes. You have these stereotypes, and I know you don't because you've been to China now, but I've been explaining to my friends here on the panel.
Wait 1 second. We have 2 great donations, so I should interrupt you. There is no way I'm passing out on this. So we have again the One Crazy Nation family donating $20. Have a good lunch. I'm gonna split the lunch with Kaja, maybe in Warsaw, I don't know, someday. Then we have also Trash Bag Travelers that I did a collab today, or yesterday, sorry, I'm confusing days. And I'm gonna publish a video with them tonight after the stream. And I'm shocked he donated, like, oh goodness.
Oh, that's
so
very
anyway,
kind.
Thank you so much to both of you guys. And I just needed to point it out. Thank you.
That's Liam and Nate. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Liam,
exactly. Trashback Traverse, that's Liam, and then the One Crazy Nation. Now they will watch every video you made, Kaja. You will see they're great subscribers. Also,
Liam and Nate, if you guys can drop your link into the comment box so everybody else can follow your channel. You guys are putting out some content, and we have another donation that's come in here from One Crazy Nation again, it looks like. And that is on Kaja's channel. So Kaja, maybe you can give a shout out to One Crazy Nation. You can say thanks to them.
You see, Kaja, it's
thank you.
Great description. We can't wait to visit China. I agree with you on that. China is spectacular. Now, if it's not Shenzhen and if it's not Shanghai, is there a Chinese city that you think is on your wish list? I know there's lots of them.
There are so many, right? Probably I would Chongqing, Chengdu.
Chongqing.
Yeah.
I hear there's a guy that puts a lot of videos out on Chongqing. So
I've recently saw a good one too. Yeah.
What's some of the Asian food that you like to eat when you go to China? Do you like hot pot, or is there some types of food that you like to try when you're there?
I would say my favorite, Asian, that's difficult, but Chinese, my favorite Chinese food is Yunnan food. I love Yunnan food.
Tell us about it, please. Tell us about it.
Oh my God, I don't know what I should tell you about it. I don't really eat meat, or I don't eat meat. So I like cuisines that have like a lot of, not meat options. I don't know. Yunnan food just has a lot of really nice dishes.
There's a question there from Randy that just Ponte's a little bit trigger happy on the keyboard there. There's a question from Randy there. Have any of you three ever visited Tibet or plan to do so in the future? Kaja, that one over to you.
No, I haven't, but I would love to, for sure.
Randy, just to add on that one, normally Tibet does allow people in, but it's still kind of, you have to travel with, we'll call it, planned traveling. Usually you have, I don't like to use the word minders, but you have to have kind of people with you to take you through that area. We have another contribution that's come in. Can I have a dare for Kaja?
Oh my God, no, I can. No, you would not want to hear that. My Mandarin is like non-existing by this point. You know, I haven't been to China for almost 2 years now.
Can't we even get a ni hao out of you?
You can get a ni hao.
No. You got Jason's water. Say something to Monica.
I literally, I'm so I'm embarrassed. Like my Chinese, honestly, my Chinese is so bad now. Like,
well, no problem. We will keep, Monica. We will not disappoint you. So don't worry. We will definitely take care of you on that one.
I can say my Chinese is bad in Chinese, but I feel like I always, whenever I meet a Chinese person and they ask me to say something, I'm always like, my Chinese is so bad, and they're always like, oh, all foreigners say that. But yeah.
There we go. Job done. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be a disappointment, basically. I know my Chinese should be better, but it will get better one day. I promise you.
So just I'm looking at your chat room going on right now, and maybe you know some of these names because they probably have commented on some of your videos. So maybe you do know Monica.
Yeah, I've seen her comments.
I'm seeing Dusty Bauer. I'm seeing a couple other people. Min learns Korean. Okay. Who else have we got in here? Boy, some of these names are hard to pronounce. Ronnie's in there. Okay, but some of these you have a lot of Chinese followers. That's interesting. There's Matt. So hello, Matt. And Mr. Ponte, tell us, you want to give a shout out to some people watching you tonight or today or this afternoon?
I recognize everybody, like from the Maldonado family, Miss Flames, Ken Wigger is a god, Randy too. Like my channel wouldn't be alive without them pushing it to everybody. So it's like I get the best comments on YouTube. JB, by the way, JB is Polish, I believe. JB is this guy, but wait. And what else? I mean, there are AK Airlines, I think I've seen. I mean, I don't want to focus on that. Let's see if we have any interesting questions.
Over to you, Mr. Ponte.
Somebody was asking what was the weirdest food we have eaten so far. Oh, gosh.
I don't know. Jellyfish, maybe?
Jellyfish.
Yeah.
But did you touch it before cooking? Because there is the one that...
No, I didn't cook it myself, no.
Oh, okay.
I feel in jellyfish I see a lot in China, no?
Could be. No? I ate in the Philippines crocodile, and I have to admit it was really good. But also in Italy we eat stuff that most people won't eat, like horses. So I don't know. We don't really advertise that, but...
No, we do not want to advertise that.
Well, see. Usually it's very common, or all the parts that of the pork, like all the unused parts of the pork that usually you make a sausage with, or they end up in a wurstel. There is a special plate in the south of Italy where they put it all together. It's like it becomes like a bag, and well, it's better to eat it than to watch it. Like with your eyes closed.
Doesn't sound good.
No, with your eyes closed, it's okay. Without, I mean, it's not for Instagram. And we have the Crazy Nation. So guys, I will move on with some questions to Kaja. How do you feel when you travel? I usually experience this thing of understanding better the other people. So what is your empathy level like? Because it feels that the more you travel, the more you're connected with other people. And I do not know if you feel the same. Like in Italy, we say that the world is a village. What about you? What do you think about that?
Definitely. I feel like traveling and, living abroad definitely made me like more capable to put myself in other people's shoes. You just learn to understand people and not to be so judgmental and more open-minded. I guess those are all very cliche and obvious things, but it is really true, I feel like especially if you go to countries that are very different to your own country, like when I went to Asia, I feel like, it changed me so much as a person because it just showed me how other people live. And it's also, it shows you that people are just people everywhere. And I don't know, like, I feel like people who don't maybe, never tried to live abroad, they often have this like perception of other countries or other like whatever nations being so different to them. But at the end of the day, it's really not. At the end of the day, we have different cultures and customs, whatever, but we're all just people. I
was wondering, I don't know if the question is going to be too personal, or if you don't want to answer it, it doesn't matter. Like,
I'm scared.
What about relationships? Because I know that traveling a lot is almost impossible for me to find a girlfriend. So how do you feel about that? Because you have changed places so many times. So I don't know. Do you want to say something on that? Otherwise, we can skip to something else.
I think it is possible because I think when you travel, you hang out with people who travel too. And I feel like at some point you're just in this circle of people where it's just very normal to change places. And it's very normal that, majority of your friends are in long distance relationships. I would say like until I moved to Poland a year ago, I feel like almost all my friends that are in relationships are in long distance relationships. So it's just so it becomes so normal, if you do it for a while. So I feel like it became also normal for me that just because you move or leave, it's not an issue, or it is an issue, but it doesn't mean that you cannot meet people and be in relationships. It's just like, the way it goes. You meet someone and you move away, and then you just keep in touch in other ways. But yeah.
So if everything was ideal, where would you move, or would you keep going with this person?
Excuse me?
Would you settle down somewhere if everything was ideal, or would you keep simply going full time? This is hard.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really impossible to answer, really. I just feel like I'm still young, so I wouldn't want to settle down.
Of course.
I guess, I think maybe at some point I would feel that I want to, but I've never felt that so far. So.
Absolutely. So guys, let's check one moment the comments. There are people commenting on my masks all the time. Thank you, Miss Influence. And there was another one about the haircut. From Friday, probably the lockdown here will be not so mean to us. So probably they will open the hairdresser places in... Yeah, here is the comment. Yeah, we'll go to the barber, guys. There is no doubt I will go there. Oh, we have somebody from San Francisco. It's probably your channel, Kaja. I've never seen Fish Geo. And what's going on over here? So
I think we might have lost Ponte for the moment.
I think we lost him.
So it's probably his camera. He always does this. Sometimes he comes back. He's going to come back. We're going to bring him on in a second. And here he is. Welcome back.
I was too excited to be seeing all the comments or something, and my camera gave up. But I don't know what's going on. And okay. So I think I have more questions for Kaja or Alex. You want to move?
I'm gonna let you run.
You're gonna let me?
I'm gonna let you sweat here for a bit.
Okay. So we're gonna go into the complicated questions. What about your goals?
Hand it over.
Do you have any dream you want to accomplish right now, or any dream you want to accomplish in the next year, so that is going to require you to do lots of jobs, but you think that you're going to be able to reach it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of person that always has goals. Like, I have too many. That's the issue. And then after every year, I feel like disappointed in myself because I didn't accomplish everything. But this year, to be honest, my biggest goal is to publish a book. So I've written a book about China, and I want to publish it.
In Polish or in English, or which language?
Yes, I wrote it in Polish. But yeah, which maybe wasn't the best idea. I don't know. Someone definitely has to correct it, because my Polish is also. I am obviously fluent in Polish, but I haven't lived in Poland for a long time. So, but I've written it in Polish because I felt like it was quite like the book would be quite unique in Poland in a way that I don't think anyone has written a book like that about China, about being a young person, student living in China. So that's why I thought that, it's a good idea to write in Polish. And also, I don't know, I just felt like, I'm Polish, I should write it in Polish. And I just finished a while ago, a couple of months ago, and I started sending it out to publishers in Poland. So far, I have like one publisher interested, so we'll see. But that's like the biggest goal of 2020 for sure, to like publish my first book.
You know that, probably you don't know because nobody knows it online, but actually I'm a published author. When I was, yes.
Really?
When I was about your age, so now I'm going to speak like an old person.
How old do you think I am?
You're like 25?
Yeah.
Or no? Yeah?
Yeah. Not 26.
So, well, it's more or less we got there. I was published in Italian and in Bulgarian, and we had some contracts. I had some short stories in English, but then I was seeing no money from the books. I kind of got depressed by it. But I mean, I would love to go back to writing full time, but there is no market, and the publishers in Italy, they're like, you should have first the following on social media, and therefore YouTube, and then we will be a bit more interested. So, or my writing wasn't that good, but I believe it was good, or simply I need to wait for another moment, like when my hair will get white or when I will lose them.
You've already did. How many books did you publish?
They published me 2 books in Italian, 1 in Bulgarian, and I had other books that they were supposed to come out. I had short stories in Bulgarian, in English, stuff like that. I can actually, Alex, I don't know if you can go on my website and show it, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't want to advertise old stuff. Like, it's just that I feel I love writing, I love reading, and
same.
That's why I went into this topic. Anyway, apart the book, what's the next goal?
The next goal, well, I don't know. What's the next goal?
We have the camera on you, so invent something.
Well, one of my goals I've already accomplished, and that was spending a month in Bali. I feel like that's such a cliche social media thing, right? But that's something I always wanted to do, and I was really happy to do that in February. I spent a month in Indonesia, so that was also like my goal for 2020. And like right now I set myself a goal for the next 4 months though to publish 2 videos per week, but we'll see about that because it is quite ambitious for me. So yeah.
Why don't you try to publish some lockdown videos regarding Poland? Just the word lockdown in the title brings lots of views, and it's not demonetized right now, so you can do it.
I'm not in Poland though. I'm in Denmark.
Oh, so. Yeah, in Denmark. Sorry, but you could do that. You show your Denmark point of view. Everybody is interested. The happiest nation on this planet, so everybody would love to check that.
Yeah, I actually haven't really posted any videos about Denmark. But, for me, it's also important to just post videos that I think are fun to make. At the end of the day, for me, YouTube is my, my hobby. It's not my full-time job. So, yeah. I also don't want to get too, in this mindset of doing things because it will get me views. Of course, it's a tricky thing. Like, the more you grow on YouTube, of course, the more tempted you are to also, post videos that will get even more views or even more attentions. Like, I always say that, I find this almost a little addictive, when you see your numbers grow, you get more into this, mindset of, you want it to keep seeing it grow. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I really have to be careful about that because I don't want to, be too influenced by that.
But you work in influencer marketing, so probably you know all the tricks. You're just not showing your cards.
I don't know. If I would know, I mean, I don't think there are any tricks really, to be honest. Or maybe there are. Yes, you can be very controversial and all that, but yeah, and some people to choose to do that. But yeah, that's not really something that I'm into.
So, in your videos in Poland, you were showing your life in Warsaw, and have you been to the museum of I cannot recall the name, Copernic Museum?
No.
It's actually a museum for kids, but they do have all these crazy puzzles, and I spent my entire day there at 30 years old. I would totally suggest it. Especially if there is a rainy day or a snowy day, you go inside there, you try to solve puzzle, and some kids are better than you, therefore you're never gonna tell it online, like I just did. But I love Warsaw, actually.
You do? Yeah, I always liked Warsaw too.
I was supposed to be actually today, no, tomorrow it was scheduled my flight to Warsaw. I had to do a bachelor party in Warsaw, but and I had everything.
You're half Polish, right?
Yeah, exactly. But my family is more from Szczecin in the north, near Berlin. So usually we fly to Berlin and then we go to Poland. And I don't know. I spent almost every August of my life in Poland, and it's the best month with the best weather. And then I lived in Wrocław, where you were born.
My city.
Yeah, and in Wrocław I was working for Qatar Airways, which is...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was my nightmare. Like, I would never do that again. I saw your videos regarding Qatar.
Yeah, I just posted a video about Qatar.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, you did? Did you like it?
Yeah. Every second of it, I really watched it, and I was always like, are you showing Qatar or not? Because you didn't meet the people from Qatar. You met just foreigners.
I was in Qatar for 2 days, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
So obviously I didn't meet anyone. I was just like running around Doha, you know, trying to see as much as possible. But I loved it. I mean, I thought it was so nice.
I saw you were super happy, and you ended up eating vegetarian because you couldn't find the food you wanted.
Yeah.
The Qatari food.
Yeah.
But,
that was a fail. I was like, oh my God, I have 1 day in Qatar and I couldn't find traditional Qatari food. I also ran out of internet, so I couldn't Google it. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you were in a good situation. I was trying to get myself fired from Qatar Airways, but they wouldn't let me go. I just wanted to go on Christmas and New Year's Eve vacations, and I had to put myself in sick leave for the rest of the months. It's probably it's one of the best company I've been flying with, but working for them, it's much better to be a YouTuber. Let's say that. Alex is lost. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting. I'm being very patient this evening with you, Mr. Ponte. You're guiding this one, so I'm going to just sit back and relax and let you see you sweat a bit tonight.
I just want to see. I need to check more comments because I want to see the questions. Do you know what's type of question?
A survivor?
I don't know. Let's pass to another one. Have you ever watched this cartoon?
Uszatek? No, and not that I remember.
The only cartoon I know in Polish is Bob something, Bob the Builder. It's the only cartoon I was watching in Polish.
I mean, I guess I should know because I watched cartoons in Polish, but I don't really remember.
Do you have any suggestions? Any cartoon that went international from Poland?
No, I don't.
It's a tricky question.
Oh no, wait! But now when I'm thinking about it, I think actually Miś Uszatek is like a Polish thing, like an old Polish cartoon. Now, but it's more like my parents' generation, maybe. Okay, now maybe I'm saying something completely wrong, but I think so.
In near Warsaw, in Łódź, there is the best, one of the best film university in Europe, and that's a super good place to get inspiration. Also, the city, I don't know if you've been there. I haven't been there yet.
No, I've never been to Łódź. I actually haven't traveled that much in Poland, to be honest.
Oh, no. You should totally do so.
I know.
Practically, like Poznan. Have you been to Poznan? No.
Yes, when I was a child. So
so practically, the thing they do very often, they take very old factories, they restore them, and they transform them into something else. So, like, there is this huge shopping center in Poznan, and maybe we can find the link somewhere. And it's amazing. It's totally built on wood and rocks. You enter, it's a huge factory, totally. It seems like, what's the word they use for Chongqing, Alex? The futuristic word that I cannot recall in English. They put it in your comments.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's totally cyberpunk. And they told me they did similar things to Łódź. So I don't know. Maybe we could make a video Chongqing Cyberpunk versus Poland Cyberpunk. Something like that. We need to find ideas, actually. And I see that, gosh, when are you going back to China, Kaja?
I was actually supposed to be in China like 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to be there for Easter. Yeah, but obviously I didn't go. Just for holidays, just for like 2 weeks holidays, which I was very excited about because I haven't been back for almost 2 years. But now I have no idea. I mean, I really hope to go back as soon as I can. Yeah, I mean, eventually I feel like one day it will probably happen. I will move back to China, but yeah. In this situation, we never know.
Yeah, actually I had a plan made by Alex. He's the director behind this. He made me in love with China, and before meeting him, I was like skeptical. But then he showed me all the drone shots for the skyscrapers in Shanghai, in Chongqing, and all the other cities. And as fast, I don't know. If the borders they would open tomorrow, I will fly tomorrow to China. Like for just 144 hours, which is the thing I can do without visa. And I'm going to explore Chongqing and all the other places around, because actually China is super close to Thailand. It's behind the corner, we will say in Italy, and that's a great opportunity. And then after China, I cannot come back directly to Thailand. I will need to go to Hong Kong or Macau, which also Macau looks amazing from the drone. I don't know. I'm just seeing drone videos from China. Well, every day, Alex is bombarding me with drone videos from China.
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with, China is on my agenda. My visa is already ready. As a Canadian, I have a 10-year travel visa to China. The government gave that to me. And for the next, we'll say 9.5 years, China is my focus. So I've been invited back from Chongqing, the media in Chongqing, iChongqing, the company's called. I'm definitely going to be there at least half of the year. I would say three months for sure. An additional 3 months. That is definitely something I'm going to do. You and I have spoken about Chengdu for you, Mr. Ponte, because you want a city that will. Yes, and we'll say that a city that has not been, if you do look on YouTube, a lot of these cities, as big as they are just unloved on YouTube, and that's unfortunate. And that's why I targeted. Funny story here. My wife said, "What do you want to do for Christmas last year?" And I said, "What would you like to do? Do you want to have the family over again and set up the Christmas tree here in Thailand?" She says, "We've done it for the last 15, 16 years. Why don't we fly into China on Christmas Eve?" And I said, "You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Where do you want to go?" And she said, "Let's go to that crazy city that you call Chongqing." I said, the one the size of the population of Canada, where I'm from? She said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we did it, fell in love with the city, and been in touch with the media department, and I will definitely be on my way as soon as these borders open and taking you, Mr. Ponte, along for the ride. Now, you were describing about the 144-hour visa, and the people that have joined the program tonight, if you're wondering how these 144-hour visas work, is if you're from a selected country, China will allow you to come into its country without getting a visa beforehand, as long as you transit to a third country after that. So that means if you're flying from Thailand, you land in China, you got to come back out. You can't come back to China. You got to come or back to Bangkok or Thailand. You got to go somewhere like Malaysia or Vietnam or something like that on the way out. Over to you there, Mr. Ponte.
So wait, in the comments they're asking where are we from? So I can practically answer. I am half Italian, half Polish. Kaja is
100% Polish.
100% Polish. Alex is 100% Chinese now. It's Canadian. And regarding Solomon, I do intend to visit Africa. I have no doubt that it would be super interesting. I had to go to Ghana, actually, because I have 2 Polish friends working in Ghana. they are female friends, and I have no other relationship apart being friends. But they are like the managers of some casino, yeah, probably in English in Ghana, which is a very weird job for a girl in Ghana because they get kind of attacked because people lose money all the time. But they are super happy with their job. They are able to save lots of money working there as Polish in Ghana, and the weather is always great. So Ghana and Kenya are on my top list. South Africa could be interesting, and I was in Morocco. I need to go visit some friends in Egypt, and probably that's it for now. I don't know. I don't have so much time. What about you, Kaja and Alex?
Definitely. I really want to visit Cape Town, Kenya, Tanzania. There's so many places. Namibia. No, that's
Namibia.
hard. Yeah, it's hard to pronounce. Yeah, but I would love to visit Africa. I haven't been, so that's definitely very high on my list of things to do in life.
What about you, Alex?
Well, I'm just in Kaja's chat forum. I'm just reading some of the comments that are coming out of here. Drunk Python, that is the name. I'm going to put this one up here. Many Westerners hate China. So do you hate China in your opinion? I had an interview from a newspaper last week and a television station in China, and I said it is okay to love China. A lot of people that are reading Western newspapers really don't understand this country. It's got a lot of stereotypes that are still with, I'll call it the old China of many years ago. And as Kaja was saying earlier on in this program, when she went to a city called Shenzhen, it is something that you can't even imagine seeing it with your eyes. You have to close your eyes, open them again. Kaja, I think you know what I'm talking about, when you see these cities. And Ken has said it very well, it's like a diamond sparkling back at you. Many people in the West just do not understand Chinese culture. And what I can recommend to people that have never been to China, get down to the embassy, get yourself a visa, get on an airplane, and you are going to see history in front of your eyes. That is how spectacular that country is. And not many people travel it.
I don't know one single person who have been to China and didn't like it. I feel like those people who have negative opinions are people who have never been there. And, obviously there are good and bad things about every single country. That's normal, yes. Right? But I feel like so many people have an opinion and they basically, never been. All they know is what they read in media. And yeah. I mean, it's funny how judgmental people can be without really knowing what they're talking about. And I feel like if they would ever go to China, they will find out that it is really a beautiful country.
There is an interesting comment like this one. Maybe they don't know China, but it doesn't mean they hate China.
That's interesting. I mean, I'll take that one, Ponte, from you. Once again, there's a lot of stereotypes again about China. People say they're closed off. They can't go on the internet. They can't get access to YouTube. They can't get access to Facebook. Yes, they can. Very easily. Anyone in China that I know has a VPN. Anyone that comes to Thailand, which is 57% of Thailand's market is Chinese travelers. They can come off the plane, they can get on the internet, and they can test out Google if they want. But you know why they don't? Is because they have their own social network. Bilibili, Douyu, Sino Weibo. They're happy with that. And they don't need our social networking. So Ponte, over to you. You got a super chat on the screen there.
So I was in Cuba for 2 years. I'd be with 50 kilos if I was in Cuba for 2 years, and instead I have a 100. So actually, when I got back from Cuba, I was in the best shape of my life because the food was the worst option ever in the school where we were. The school was founded by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. If you know, this author is a pretty known author. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Alex, can you search Gabriel Garcia Marquez, because I cannot recall the books in English. Or
what would you like me to search?
Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Oh gosh. Have you ever 100 anni di solitudine? 100 Years of Solitude, maybe it's the book in English. It's
Okay,
super
yes,
known.
I've got the novelist up here. What would you like me to look up now?
It's the titles of the books, because he's one of the most famous writers ever.
100 Years of Solitude.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this book, Kaja?
No, I haven't.
No? Really? So maybe it's famous just in the Latino-speaking countries. I don't know. And they founded this great film school, which at the time it was the most advanced film school they had in America. And they were like Tarantino was coming to teach there. Many American directors, they were coming to teach there. All the directors from South America, they are coming to teach there. And nowadays, still lots of directors, they are going to teach there from Europe. And they have just the flight paid. But then when you get there, you find the worst food ever. Like all the mosquitoes coming on your food, on your plate all the time. And so you start to lose weight. The weather helps. And you go back to Europe, that you're in the best looking shape ever. But I cannot... Entiendo un poquito de español, pero ahora no puedo remember mucho, pero lo entendiste todo el tiempo, which means that I understand pretty everything, but I cannot really recall how to speak it so much. Just if I get stuck in a Spanish country, I will speak Spanish in 2 weeks. Let's say that. Seen and been. Well, what's this comment that you put out?
That means they've been there and done that.
Ah, okay. Okay, Dusty. Oh, Brazil. I was in Brazil. Ronnie is probably your subscriber, Kaja. Never seen him. Yeah. Have you been to Brazil?
No, but it's also on top of my, like, I've recently made this video where I asked my subscribers what are their like 3 top countries they would want to visit, and like Brazil is one of my top 3 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for sure it looks great. Not sure if it's the same. Asia feels much safer than any other place where I have, like, no place is comparable to Asia in being safe. Brazil, I didn't feel safe at all.
That's a good thing about Asia, especially, you know, for you it's a little different, but if you are a girl, of course.
No, also for me, like in Brazil, I was always feeling some guns coming at my head, but yeah, Asia, it's unbelievable for that. And there is practically no crime, or at least not that I see it.
Well, I'm seeing some comments here in Kaja's feed from Amber. I love how Americans talk about China surveillance, but forget the U.S. government is surveilling them. Interesting comment. Actually, it's funny. Western countries call it surveillance in China, but in our countries we call it CCTV. But it's the same thing. But in China, I think, you know, the Chinese, like, they don't look at it as somebody, and this is from my experience and chatting with a lot of people from China, they look at it as protection. It's not a, you know, it's kind of like if you're a female in China and you're walking the streets at night, no problem. You know, you know that the safety and security is there. They, you know, this is, you know, and I'm just speaking for myself and what my Chinese friends have said is that, you know, it's not there to invade people's privacy. It's there for more protection. Kaja, you've been in China. Have you ever felt threatened walking around as a woman?
No, not even one single time. And, you know, that's something I really love about China and about Shanghai. It's such a huge city. And, you know, I was a student in China, so obviously I did go out a lot. And, you know, nightlife in Shanghai is great. It's a fun place to be when you're young. And, you know, whenever you're at a party, you're tired, you can just go out and take a taxi home and you go. That's it. And then, you know, like when I lived in Shanghai, I moved to Paris afterwards. And that's when you feel the difference. In Paris, you're done at a bar or whatever, and taking a taxi alone, still as a European, you know, it can be an issue, which is so sad. And that's also not something I'm used to growing up in Copenhagen. So for me, the fact that I always felt so safe in China is also like one of my favorite things about this country, because I cannot imagine living in a place where I don't feel safe. But to be honest, I almost feel like Shanghai, at least, is even safer than a lot of European countries. So yeah, that's definitely something I really appreciate about Shanghai. It gives you freedom, you know. There's no such a thing as being afraid to take metro alone, taking taxis, or just walking around at night. You're not concerned about that. So yeah, that definitely, as you know, as a woman, that gives you freedom to just live your life and not worry.
By the way, apart that we have another time, the McDonald family throwing money at me, which I'm thankful and grateful. Thank you, dinner. I will pay dinner also for all the other people in the panel by now. And you know, this thing about feeling safe, I've noticed that, like, also in Poland, feels much safer than being in Italy. Like, all the girls I know in Poland, they walk on the streets without any problem, or at least that's a guy point of view. When in Italy, you would never walk alone by yourself to your house. Like, doesn't feel safe at all.
That's horrible.
What do you think?
I mean, I cannot imagine living in a place like that. I can't, you know. Warsaw for sure, and all Polish cities, like big cities, are quite safe compared to many other places in Europe. So that's also something I like about Warsaw, for sure.
Yeah, and you have all the possible food ever in Warsaw because there are so many international people and the restaurants.
Yeah, the food scene, the restaurant scene is so good in Warsaw. I feel like that's something people don't really know about Poland, maybe. You know?
Yeah, and also all the stuff they are opening along the river, which a couple of years ago there was nothing, and now it's like a perfect place for aperitif, relax, party, everything.
Yeah, so, I think Warsaw is really like, you know, an up-and-coming city. I think a lot of people don't know that it is a really cool city.
I think I am a big believer in the Polish economy for the future, and I'm a big believer in investing in Poland if I had money, but at the moment, let's try to grab some subscribers instead. There was an interesting question. Do you know a vlogger called Miriam in China? She's from Sweden, apparently. Where is it? Here. Miriam in China.
Yeah, I know her.
I think so, yeah. She is married to a Chinese guy and she has a baby, right?
Yes.
Alex, do it.
Yeah, I think, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's her, yeah. And they live in the countryside, so I hope I'm not confusing her with someone, but I think that's her. Like her videos.
While we're on the topic, what other China vloggers that do you pay attention to or follow?
So I love Where's Poppy. Her videos about China are pretty cool. Who else? Detmar. He's a Swedish YouTuber in Shanghai. So I love his vlogs because he's in Shanghai and I love seeing Shanghai. I miss it so much. So yeah, I guess those two.
Do you know Blondie in China?
Oh yeah, her as well, yeah.
Yeah,
I bet there are more. I just like forget it, yeah.
She was on the show with us on the weekend. We had Jayo Nation. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I've heard about him, yeah.
And Guelo60. He's also from Nanning, China. So yeah, I mean, we get quite a bit of people on our weekend show from China. That's our target. So, and over to you, Mr. Ponte.
So I wanted to answer this. No, you can speak English in Warsaw. You're in Europe, and their schools are pretty good. So people do speak English, especially the younger generation. And that there was
and especially in Warsaw. I mean, in general, in Poland, it's not an issue anymore. All young people speak Polish perfectly well.
Exactly. And we have your subscriber, Monica, that is asking you.
What was it like growing up in Denmark? Did you have a hard time adjusting to the country and learning the language? Well, yeah, I think it's never easy. You know, I was 12 when I moved to Denmark. So that is young, but not that young anymore. You're already like old enough to have friends and all that. So I guess for me, it was much harder than, for example, for my younger brother, who's like 3 years younger. So yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously it was difficult to learn a new language. But yeah, now it's been a while, now it's been like 15, 16 years. I don't even know. I'm really bad at math. But now Denmark is my home. So yeah, I guess my attitude towards Denmark changed also now when I moved to Poland. I almost feel like, I feel more at home in Denmark now when I moved back to Poland. I don't know if it makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, because I always, I was always like, I'm Polish and all that. And now when I actually moved to Poland and I am in Poland, I also see certain things about myself that are maybe more towards Denmark. And I go to Denmark and, I feel at home here as well. And I think people in Poland also, I have so many situations where, I'm fluent in Polish and I speak Polish to people and people are like, oh, where are you from? And I tell them Wrocław, because I don't feel that. I always say like, I don't feel Danish, but Denmark is my home. So I tell them, Wrocław, and people are like, yeah, but where are you really from? Yeah. So I think
let's demonstrate people that you can speak Polish and you're Polish.
Demonstrate. It's always so awkward when people ask you to do that because I'm like, what do I say?
So this subscriber wants to know how to say in Polish, what sorts of beer do you have? I will try to say that and I would be totally wrong.
Okay,
jakie piwo macie? I speak Polish.
Jaki rodzaj piwa macie?
No, jaki rodzaj piwo macie? Rodzaj.
Rodzaj?
Exactly. So we have demonstrated that I am 50%, she is 100%. Probably that's enough. Oh gosh. So let's see. Bardzo piękne szczęście dla ciebie.
Bardzo piękne szczęście dla ciebie.
I have trouble reading Polish. It is so complicated.
Dziękuję za piękne szczęście. But I think someone just Google translate it because that's not. Yeah, I think that's not correct Polish.
Oh, okay. Well, I
guess my Polish got better now after 1 year in Poland.
Here we have another person. I like watching traveling vlogs. So interesting. It shows the authentic local culture. I think it's a fair point, this one, because usually when you watch TV shows, everything is prepared, everything is set, and they can show you the version that they want to show you. But with the vlogs, when you meet the locals, when you experience the things yourself, you can actually show the truth or your own truth.
Yeah, for sure.
To read this difficult. Well, oh. Okay.
Someone doesn't like my editing style.
I didn't want to highlight. I click on that by mistake, I promise.
Yeah, you put it right on the screen.
Yeah, I know.
Why don't you like it? It's nice. I think it makes it more interesting. And that's the fun part with editing,
I think you should keep it just because it's the way you do it. And you would be recognizable for that. Like my nearly perfect pronunciation, which is very far from perfect. They will know it comes from me. Why everybody? Każde sorte piwa I maste? What's that? Nice. This is like Romanian.
Yeah, that sounds like I don't know.
It's like Romanian, I think.
Yeah.
You made it. Okay, you made it again. Okay. I think. Guys, if you have any questions, we reached the hour mark. So if you have questions, it's time to make them. Otherwise, I shouldn't consume all the internet in this house. Oh gosh. That's Slovenian. Okay. The writing before was Slovenian. Let's see. And there is Alex. Let's advertise Alex a bit.
No.
No. Why not? What happened?
No, I'm listening to you, sir.
No, don't listen to me. I'm trying to see if it's enough. Yeah, we know, I think, now that 99 people. And if we do not have any question from 99 people, I think it's going to be enough for this vlog.
So I'll help you wrap it up here, Ponte.
Yeah. Let's speak about future plans.
What can we expect, Kaja, from you coming up in the next couple of weeks? Have you got anything rolled up in content that you're thinking of releasing?
Yes. So I do have a couple of videos about China coming up. I actually filmed a video with a friend of mine who used to study Chinese in Taiwan. So we're kind of, we talked about, the differences between studying Chinese in Shanghai and then in Taipei. So I'm also planning to interview a couple of more of my friends. And then I have a whole lots of videos from Bali. So as I was in Bali for a month, so I filmed a lot. So I'm going to have a lot of videos about Bali soon.
Okay, that's fantastic. And Mr. Ponte, how about you? What is on your agenda, sir?
On my agenda is very, very simple. As soon as we finish this live stream, I'm going to hit the publish button. And please, guys, go check the video. You know what? Maybe I'm going to hit the publish button now. So if you have nothing to do after the live stream, if you're not tired of me, or if you're coming from Kaja's channel, if you please go check my video. I'm going to put the link out now. Let's do like this.
So for everybody, if the viewers aren't aware of this, there's 2 channels streaming right now. So what you guys can do is hit the subscribe button for both channels, vice versa. And if you like some of my stuff, I'm also in the description below there under Reportify Media. One Crazy Nation says, we thank you, Michele and Alex, are a great part of our lives. Thank you very much. And we can't wait to see you, Kaja. They said that as well.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to put out the link. So it's going to, Kaja, if it's okay for you, it's going to go everywhere, the link.
Yes.
I have the magic power. So, so this is the link going everywhere. If you want to see the food I gave to the cats in Bangkok yesterday, and it is a Michelin guide food I brought to the cats in Bangkok, the best food I could find. To go check the video. I'm super shy promoting my stuff like that, but
no, you're not.
Okay.
You are not shy at all, Ponte.
It feels completely weird. But guys, I just published this video. Go give a like. I'm doing an experiment, publishing a video after a live stream, and if 100 people go watch it in the first moment, maybe YouTube will kiss it and will bring it up. If not, that's fine. And dziękuję bardzo, Kaja, bardzo miła. Dzięki.
Dziękuję ci.
Okay. So, Alex, I think we can wrap it up.
Sure. So that is about it from me and you and everybody. We really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Don't forget, when you do watch videos from these creators on this channel, leave comments, leave likes, all that kind of stuff. And sorry, JZZ, you didn't see my notification because I'm not streaming tonight. These 2 are the ones that deserve the attention. I'm just here as a backup host in case Ponte chokes and doesn't know what he's doing. But all is good. That's it from me, and that's it from Kaja. Guys, say your goodbyes.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Cheers. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good evening. Morning. Where is the end button?